Are you a robosexual? What is up, sapiosexuals? Thank you for turning on Sex in South Beach with your girl, Dr. Sanjaya. So, the sex situation we're getting into right now is all about sex robots. And did you know the latest versions of these sex robots are super realistic? Like they have warm skin, self-lubricating genitalia. What? And you can detach that shit and wash it in the dishwasher. Booyah, that's a next level of sexual hygiene. That's what I'm saying, man. For real. Sex robots are really becoming a booming business, okay? And this new type of sexual interaction, it is so common that we got to talk about it. There is an entire vocabulary, people, to talk about this. And you know what I know about you? You are smart people. You are sapiosexuals. That's right. Attracted to intellect, people. So, of course, we are all about using the proper terminology when discussing sex. So let's get down to some of the essential words for today's conversation. Now, first of all, we have not one, but two terms to describe people who are attracted to sex robots: digisexuals or robosexuals. And you know what? Sex robots, you know what? That's way too long. You know what the cool kids call it? Just sexbots. We're just going to shorten that up. Sexbots it is, all right? And male bots or man bots, and as we're going to learn, non-existent bots. That's because there are no male bots or man bots. But if there were, those sex bots that were of the male persuasion would be called male bots or man bots, okay? Now, you would think that the equitable term for women would be woman bots, but no. We call them chick bots, okay? Chick bots or fem bots are sex bots with a female design. You heard that. And you know what? Those names are just one of the major ways that you know this is a male-dominated industry. Totally. You see an equal opportunity name, woman bot, not chick bots. Okay, do you guys hear me? But you know, I guess men buying sex bots, you know what they're not looking for? They're not looking for a woman. So there you go. Anyhow, as we all know, we do live in an age where gender terminology, you know what, it is quickly evaporating. So we also have gender neutral terms that I want you to know. Now, these include pleasure bots, sex droid, love bot, love droid, or erotobot. So basically, in the world of sex bots, you can pick the term that is right for you. Anything except woman bot, because clearly not allowed, okay? So before I tell you what you can do with your sex bot and where you can get it, I really want to quickly talk to you about how these sex bots, how do they enter into our bedrooms, right? Where did this all come from? Let me tell you, how did this become a sexual thing? Let me give you a little bit of sex bot history. Sex dolls. Now, these are the predecessor of sex bots. That makes sense, right? Well, they were first advertised in porn magazines and they became available for purchase in the mail in 1968, right? This is the time of the free love movement, right? This is when women could finally start saying no to sex, right? Because women were allowed to work, so we could decide who we wanted our sexual partners to be. Isn't that funny? It was a time when we didn't have to worry about getting pregnant. There were birth control pills. So we really didn't even have to become emotionally attached to the person we're having sex with. And you know what men did? Instead of working harder to get with us, they were like, screw that. We got to start a sex doll movement. And that's when that all started, okay? So these first sex dolls, they were inflatable and they could be penetrated in the mouth, the vagina, and the anus. But obviously, due to their inflatable nature, you know what? They didn't last that long. They broke, they popped, they deteriorated really easily. And you know what? They weren't sustainable for constant use, and that's what they wanted them for, okay? Consistency. So the industry got to work to create sex dolls with more durability and to really try to resemble an actual human. And by the 1970s, let me tell you, latex and silicone, these were being used for the sex dolls. And ever since the 1990s, tremendous efforts have been made to make these realistic sex bots. The efforts have totally accelerated since then, and they have not stopped. And today, let me tell you, there are quite a few models of these sex bots constructed to actually hold conversations, remember important facts, express various emotions. For example, my friends, Harmony. Harmony is like one of the most popular sex dolls out there. You know, she's all about peace and love with a name like Harmony. That's all she's bringing to the bedroom, guys. Well, Harmony is a sex bot that is totally customizable. You can use a mobile app to do it, and users can choose from thousands of possible combinations of looks, clothes, personalities, and voices to make Harmony become your perfect companion. Oh, that's so sweet, right? Now, let me tell you, not everybody is happy with the popularity of these sex bots. Like many scholars, such as myself, we have some questions about this stuff. We're like, sex bots could really reinforce the idea that women are property rather than human beings with free will. You know, I'm all about creating a sex bot that actually resembles the female sexual response cycle so it can teach men how to do it. But that's not what they're creating right now. So let's get back. Now, some other issues, in addition to reinforcing the idea that women are property, some people argue, I'm not sure about this, I'm really torn about this, that they don't have the ability to refuse or the ability to consent. Well, this could really, facilitate the rape culture. And I could see how that's going to go down. On one hand, I'm like, well, maybe we should give rapists a sex bot and save women. I mean, seriously. But on the other hand, I could see how you don't really want to normalize that type of behavior. So these are some of the arguments. And you know what? The female experts are really, they're cautioning men out there. They're like, all of these sex bots, you know what? They facilitate social isolation. They really don't teach men how to have better relationships with women. They desensitize humans to intimacy and empathy. Like, women don't already have a hard enough time trying to get our partners to understand us, right? So now we have these sex bots who are like, don't worry, you don't have to understand us, but you can still have sex with us. Some female experts like Chantel Tibbetts, well, she says, and I agree with her, nothing, you heard me? Nothing can replace the joy, sorrow, passion, and pain of an actual unpredictable human interaction. And so I know a lot of men would listen to that sentence and they're like, okay, I didn't want any of the sorrow or the pain or the I just really wanted the passion part, right? So I get both sides of this. Now, Kathleen Richardson, she's the director of the campaign against sex robots. Now, she firmly believes that we should start cultivating better relations between each other and leave sex robots to the dustbin of bad ideas. And as much as I would love to agree with her, and I do agree that we should be trying to cultivate better sexual relationships. I absolutely agree. But I don't think that this is going to end up in the dustbin of bad ideas. I think that it's already out there, so we have to address it. And that is exactly what we're doing today, people. Okay? Now, obviously, we're not going to experience the same kind of intimacy or humanity, but I do think that sex bots do have some benefits, but we do have to be careful. Before we get into these benefits, we really, really want to be careful and understand that if we really focus on increasing the popularity of these sex bots and creating customized sex bots instead of having real relationships, then I think that would really foster further social isolation. And I think that's really increased exponentially with the internet, with dating apps, with porn. So many other technologically driven advances have impacted our sexual relationships in not the best ways, my friends. And it's caused a lot less human interaction, less in real life sexual experiences, especially before engaging in sex. And that's when I think some of the sexiest in real life experiences can happen is before you actually engage in sex, right? Okay, so there's our take on some of the issues. Now, it ain't all bad talking about sex bots here. There are some benefits to sex bots, and we're going to get right into those right after this break. You stay tuned for Sex in South Beach, baby. Ready to feel good? Get half off my favorite Sense Aromatherapy body oil.
Simply go to sense bodyoil.com and type in the code MYCLIMAX, MYCLIMAX, to get half off Sense Aromatherapy Body Oil today. You'll thank me tomorrow. Mwah.
Let's talk about some of the potential benefits of these sex bots, okay? I think that there are some really, really good ways that sex bots could help. New York Times columnist Ross Douthat. Do that? You like that? Do that? New York Times columnist Ross Do That has suggested that sex robots could solve the problem of inceldom. Do you know what inceldom is? That's involuntary celibacy, right? So, this New York Times columnist, Mr. Do That, thinks that sex bots could be the answers to involuntary celibacy in society. So rather than develop the skills to actually meet someone, he's suggesting basically go get yourself a sex bot. So I don't necessarily agree with that. But this does remind me of sex surrogacy, which is actually a therapeutic practice that we have in sexology. Now, a sex surrogate is an expert who works with someone who needs help developing sexual skills or sexual confidence. Basically, a sex surrogate teaches someone how to show emotion and have sexual interactions, including giving and receiving pleasure. Now, of course, sex surrogates, you know what? Not so easy to find, right? They're not prostitutes. These are trained experts, right? So, for people who need help developing these types of sexual skills but are unable to work with a human sex surrogate, I could definitely understand how an intelligent sex robot might be used instead of a sex surrogate. But it must be properly programmed, my friends. And I can also see the benefit of sex robots for men who need to develop sex skills. And believe me, people, there are so many men out there who need to develop sex skills, right? This hypothetical sex skills sex bot, ooh, I like that. This hypothetical sex skills sex bot would only get lubricated if she was properly stimulated. She would only moan if he was giving her what she wants, right? So men who have a hard time keeping a woman, you know what your number one problem is? You're not good in bed. Sorry. That's the truth. Sorry. If you were really good in bed, they'd stay longer, even if you were not the best guy. So if you want to practice your sex skills, I could see the value of a sex bot. My husband had a super funny joke when I told him about what today's show was about. He was like, when guys call the helpline, they're like, hello, my sex bot is not working. She's not getting lubricated. What should I do? The helpline would be like, well, did you touch her nipples the way she likes it? Did you put your finger, right near her clitoris the way she likes it? Harmony, she's got some very specific preferences. So these dolls would actually have bodies that functioned similarly to the actual female sexual response cycle. Wow! Wouldn't that be revolutionary? Teaching men how a woman's body responds to sexual stimuli? Booyah! You know what? I think I could run the world if I did that. Dang! Now, there's another place where sex bots might also be useful. Prison. A lot of sexual aggression. There's so much sexual tension. Who knows? These sex bots, it's kind of gross. I don't think they should each get their own. I think they should have to share. We're going to get to some of the hygiene with your sex bot later. But I think that might be a good place. I'm not sure, but I think a small pilot study, we should do that. Recently, I heard a female comedian talking about how sex bots could really help women out there, especially when we're too tired for sex. Girl, she even got one to resemble her. So when she did not want to do her man, he had her actual look-alike sex bot to have sex with. It is a concept out there. Yes, indeed. But I think that the sex bot most women are waiting for is the one who knows how to give a massage, go down, and climax us to sleep while he cleans up during our nap. Okay? I think that is the ultimate male bot that we're looking for. But since man bots are not yet available, let me give you the quick lowdown on sex bots that you can get right now, right here, okay? Well, not right here, but somewhere on the deep, wide internet, okay? Now, we already talked about her, Miss Harmony. This is also known as The thinking man's love doll. Now you can turn up her intellectual setting, and you know what? She's going to recite poetry or even crack jokes for you, okay? She's a bright one. She's going to remember your favorite foods, films, and music, and she is programmed to be witty and charming. However, if smart women scare you, and if you're buying a sex bot, I know that might be a precaution for you. You can also dumb her down, okay, and shape her personality from 18 different traits, even jealousy, moody, or frigid. And you know what? That frigid one is a little weird. Like you want a sex bot who doesn't want to have sex with you. If that's the case, you need to get therapy before you get your sex bot, okay? And of course, now, Harmony, she has 42 different nipple options because 41 was not enough. No, it wasn't. And I know you guys out there need this. She's also got the optional transgender penis extension. What? You can't tell them nothing, right? Mm-mm-mm. If you got Harmony, you don't need nobody else, right? Now her skin warms up to simulate the real thing, and she even lubricates for you. Ooh, and since Harmony is a modern woman, right, who keeps up her hygiene, you know what? You can throw her usable parts in the dishwasher so she is fresh for your next escapade. Next, let's talk about Roxy. Now, Roxy, she's been around the block a few times. She's been available since 2010, and she has artificial intelligence, an articulated skeleton, customizable hair, eyes. I mean, this is the full deal, and skin color, because I know you guys like it. As my neighbor told me the other day, I'm really looking for like an Asian woman. Can you help me? I was like, wow, I have a lot of things to do. That can't be on my to do list for you, honey. But, anyways, out of my neighbor. But if you want customizable skin color, Roxy can be that for you. You can actually take her skin off and put on a different one. So, if you want it, back to back, different nights, different chicks. Roxy is linked wirelessly to the internet, enabling her to email her owner and receive software updates. And get this, she is so realistic. She even has a heartbeat and a circulatory system. Thanks to the sensors installed in Roxy, she cares, okay? And the company promises that the doll's personality can be altered so she likes what you like and she dislikes what you dislike. Sounds like the perfect woman to me. Well, dang, just delicious, right? Because God, those women, who have their own opinions, ooh, get them out of here, right? Now, Samantha is also available for you. She is the caring lover, designed to respond to kisses. Now, she orgasms when you hit her G spot, right? And she yells when you don't. No, just kidding. But since variety is the spice of Sexbot life, Samantha has sisters in fashion or fitness versions, right? And for a special kind of freak, Samantha also has a sleep mode. Now that is some creepiness, okay? But maybe, if people like Bill Cosby bought one, less woman would have been, there might be some therapeutic benefits in there. Now, unfortunately, sex bots for straight women and gay men are harder to find than Mr. Right Girl. Let me tell you, there's plenty of love dolls that come with a range of penis sizes out there, from limp or small to extra large. However, when I tried contacting the manufacturers to discover whether they exist or whether they're coming out, nothing. It's just like dead silence, like having a conversation with a man who wants a sex bot. No, it was just dead silence. There isn't anything out there. But one website, the inventors of Roxy, they have also come up with Rocky, okay? And you can pre-order Rocky. It's only like $10,000, and there's no picture of Rocky, though. So I'm like, what? You want me to pre-order my Rocky sex doll and I don't even get a picture? So an updated Rocky will be coming soon, they tell us, but we haven't found it yet. So we don't have a thinking, artificially intelligent sex bot for women yet. But you know what? That's because women aren't in the game. And you know what? Maybe after listening to today, some women are going to get into that game and build us the ideal man. Now, these sex bots, they're expensive, okay? They come from the cheap ones that don't do much. You can get them for maybe $3,000 to $4,000. But if you want a full deluxe thing, you got to customize it. This guy in Thailand, he got himself a customizable Scarlett Johansson, $34,000. What? Right? I hope she acts, right? And gets jobs for that. But if you are on a budget and you don't have that type of money to spend, and blondes are really your thing, you know what you could do? What? You can head to Russia, Italy, or Spain and enjoy some rented silicone passion. Lumadolls. They have brothels with sex bots. Seriously. Now, their business model is to let you try the dolls out before deciding to build your very own perfect companion. Right? Try it to make sure you like it. Okay. Now, the Lumadol's location in Barcelona advertises you can savor the world's first hyper realistic sex doll brothel. Never before could you feel a sex doll before she would turn into your usual sex partner. Come alone or bring your girlfriend to experience an unknown passion. What happens will remain between the three of you. Select one or more of our voluptuous sex dolls to make real anything you want. Let your imagination fly and play with her as much as you want. Come and live the naughtiest menage a trois. She will keep all your secrets. Oh, guys, let me tell you, this puff up sex bot brothel, they're waiting for you, okay? And if you're like me and you're thinking, what? People are sharing sex bots? How do they clean these? Let me just give you the quick hygiene update on that. You should clean your sex bot after every single use. Like, duh, right? So, the last thing I want to tell you about sex bots is to use them responsibly. What does that mean? Avoid sharing your sex doll with anybody else. That is the first rule to prevent spreading infections and diseases, my friends. Now, you always want to keep it clean, but you definitely don't want to share. And you know what? To keep things easier, throw a condom on, especially if you will go to one of those sex brothels. I highly recommend using a condom there, okay? Now, before we get into the climax, we're about to turn this thing off. But before we do, I want us to really think about how sex bots are going to penetrate our society. And when you talk to your partner, I want you to think about that too. Like, I have heard of couples having a threesome with a sex bot instead of a real person. And I could actually see how that could be a little less dangerous than, having a real person involved with your sexual experiences. And I could also see how that could help people fulfill some of their fantasies without going outside the scope of monogamy. On the other hand, I really see how sex bots could become a threat to our interactions, our personal human relationships. The saddest thing to me about the apps like Tinder and all that is people don't get that fun, sexy time before they have sex, that buildup, that anticipation. And that is what really, really helps us hone and shape our sexual desires and helps us evolve our sexuality throughout the lifespan. So I think that we don't want to do anything, or we want to be very careful about bringing anything into our sexual world that really limits our sexual human interactions with other human beings. Booyah. So, are y'all ready for the climax? The Sexbot summary is Sexbots are on the rise. What? Fembots, especially, because we really don't have them for women yet. But female sex robots are being built more like humans for everyday use. Next, remember, sexbots may have some benefits. Fulfilling sexual desires in this way doesn't require human interaction. But you know what I bet? I bet one way we might change the game, what? Is to help men improve their pleasure-inducing skills by designing sex bots that function similarly to female sexual response systems. You know what that could lead to? That could lead to a whole generation of men who actually know how to turn real women on in real life. Booyah! That could save the world, people. I swear it could. Believe me. Lovers, The next thing you need to do is share this show with your partner so you can have a what? Laugh, laugh, laugh. A super fun and funny conversation about sex bots that leads to a fun sexual experience tonight. And who knows? Maybe it'll also lead to a little sex bot role playing. You know what I'm saying? That couldn't be a bad thing. And that's the nitty gritty on sexual satisfaction with sex bots. For your daily dose of Nookie knowledge, you have to check me out on all the social media networks. That's DRSONJIA, Dr. Sanjaya, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Come on, baby, let's link up. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys today, and I can't wait to do it again at Sex in South Beach, where everyone comes for happier, healthier sex.